Mickey Mouse.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently. That's okay. Things are gonna be okay.
Hey nerds, we are gathered here today for the death of Tron. As we all know, Mickey Mouse was charged with first-degree murder of this beloved franchise on October 10th, 2025, with Jared Leto as an accessory to the crime. Unfortunately, it was a hit and miss. I'd like to start off by thanking Disney for sponsoring this video. Oh wait, sorry, that was a script typo, too late now, so we'll just roll with it. Now, Tron fans have had it tough for a while now, and I mean literal years. From the first Tron film in 1982, we had to wait 28 years for the sequel, Tron Legacy. Well, I wasn't alive at that time, but... Then after that flopped at the box office, we waited another 15 years for Jared Leto to come back and kill the franchise for good. So at least we had hope for 15 years before it was extinguished by Morbius himself.
It's Morbin time.
For those of you who do not know Tron, it is a very niche fan base. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen this in pop culture, but not sure if it's ever been more than that. And I think a natural question is, why isn't Tron as popular as Star Wars? Why didn't it take off? And these are all good questions that I'm going to answer in this video. First, let's go back to the 80s where music was obviously much better and songs were longer than 2 minutes because they didn't need endless Spotify streams. The first film, Tron, had a computer programmer named Kevin Flynn getting digitized into a computer system by an evil corporate AI called MCP. Inside the computer world, called the Grid, programs look like people and they live under MCP's rule. Flynn teams up with a heroic security program named Tron, which was created by Flynn's friend Alan Bradley, to overthrow the MCP and restore freedom to the digital realm. They battled it out in glowing arenas using light cycles, discs, and other neon-filled tech gladiator games. Now, the original Tron had a mixed box office performance. It wasn't a total flop, but definitely was underwhelming for Disney at the time. It did make its money back, but Disney had hoped for a major sci-fi hit on the level of Star Wars, and Tron didn't even come close. Essentially, Star Wars was that cooler older brother who's really good at sports, and no matter how hard you try, you can't make that basketball team, but still, you keep trying every year because even though you're 5'3", you hope you can turn out like Steph Curry.
Curry gets it right back from half court, and it's gone!
However, it is important to note that the computer graphics blew audiences' minds, but mainstream audiences didn't really get the digital world concept yet, given that the internet didn't take off really until the 2000s. While it might not have lit up the box office, Tron had become a cult favorite, especially among programmers, gamers, and visual effects fans, and its influence outlasted its numbers, paving the way for computer animation and film in general. So from the start, Tron was not successful and was defined by amazing special effects, but did not really catch on further than a cult fan base. Now let's go back into the future and fast forward to 2010.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
We had Tron Legacy release, which is where Tron was introduced to a modern audience and to me. Set nearly 30 years after the original, the film follows Sam Flynn, the rebellious son of tech legend Kevin Flynn, who mysteriously vanished years ago. When Sam investigates an old signal from his father's abandoned arcade, he's digitized into the Grid, a neon digital world his father created. There he discovers Clue, his father's digital double, who has taken over the Grid and seeks to invade the real world. And his real father, Kevin Flynn, has been trapped in exile inside his own creation. Together, they fight to stop Clue's plans and escape back to reality. Now for me, this film made me interested in Tron but not a fan, and after rewatching it after years, I think my opinion has changed quite a bit. In many ways, it is a great film. The special effects even today are nothing short of amazing, and the soundtrack is unforgettable from Daft Punk. But where it falls flat for me is in the stories and characters, which feel like an afterthought. There is a problem in any story where the world becomes more interesting than the characters. When I watched the film, I kept wondering, why didn't I care about what was happening on screen? Until I realized it was because the characters felt bland and uninteresting. There are no real character arcs in this film, just plot and objectives. Take a look at this scene where Sam finally sees his father after years, and what his father's reaction is. What does this tell you about his character? Okay, to be honest, that looked a lot worse than it actually was in the film. But you get my point. Taking this out of context, you feel like he doesn't even care about his son. And the thing is, this is when they're first meeting, so the audience already feels the same way as the dad. Why should we care about Sam? By the end of the film, I'm just not satisfied personally with the story or feel like there's more to explore in this universe, which is really the exact opposite of what you want in a future franchise. In terms of the critics' response to the film, it was mixed. Of course, it was praised for its jaw-dropping visuals and Daft Punk's iconic soundtrack and the sleek design, but many thought that the story was thin and the characters were underdeveloped. To summarize my thoughts on this film, it is all style and no substance. And honestly, that's not always a bad thing. Have you ever seen a really pretty girl and you enjoy the view, and then talk to her and realize her RPG character build was maxed out on beauty points and not much in personality? I mean, you get bored eventually, or rather quickly. And I'm talking about Sydney Sweeney here, by the way. Mid AF.
My jeans are blue.
Now, Tron Legacy did much better financially than the original, though it still fell short of becoming the blockbuster Disney had hoped for again. So it made money, but not franchise launching money. More of a respectable hit than a runaway success. And it built another cult following that's still strong today, and another reason why Tron Ares even exists. So again, more or less the same story as 1982. Now let's talk about Tron Uprising, the only Tron TV show. This is what made me a huge Tron fan. It took the existing universe set up in Tron Legacy and then had this one insanely good animated season before it was cancelled. It focused on the programs in another grid city and spent time building the rules of the universe. How did programs live? How did they function in their society? These are questions that the show tackled. And what made it so cool was that Tron, I think personally, was always meant to be fully animated, which allows for more flexibility in storytelling and cinematics. If you ever wonder why you should care about Tron, skip all these movies and go to Disney Plus and watch this. For me, it is the equivalent of Star Wars The Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels and what they did for their respective universes. Another thing I want to mention is that what makes Tron so special is its digital world. No one really cares about humans, so the movies in live action should have always focused on making the franchise about the programs and the grid. The thing is, we as the audience want to spend time in the grid, not escape it like Sam in Tron Legacy. Now we're in 2025 and Jared Leto has decided to destroy this franchise next. You would think he would be busy hanging out with his cult.
Oh shit, here we go again.
By erasing my mind.
Which Jared, I haven't received an invite, so I'm obviously a hater now. But seriously, why does he have a cult? Can I start one? Maybe that's just my YouTube channel. So let's get this straight. He was in the failed Sony Spider-Man universe as Morbius. He was in the failed DC Extended Universe as the Joker. Now he's in the failed Tron universe as Ares? I mean, we can't keep blaming him, but not sure why directors keep choosing to work with this clown. Literally, I mean, he played the Joker.
I'm not someone who is loved. I'm an idea.
Okay, I just watched Tron Ares and boy do I have a lot of thoughts. Essentially, the whole plot revolves around programs like Ares being transported to the real world, but they can only last 29 minutes before they die, also called de-resolution. And there are two competing companies fighting over a permanence code, allowing programs to stay in the real world indefinitely. I'll start off by saying that Jared Leto actually had a somewhat good performance after all that clowning on him. I mean, he is playing the program, which means he can have no personality. Now the question is, was this the Tron film that fans deserved? No, it wasn't. It was an okay film that, in my opinion, misunderstood what makes Tron special. First of all, it is definitely not a bad film. It's just okay. I'm surprised to say that I enjoyed watching it, but that's probably because I'm so starved for Tron content. When my brain started functioning again after the movie, I realized I was delusional. The problem is that Tron fans cannot just afford an okay movie. With Star Wars, they can have bad movies all the time, and they can trust that there will be more movies in the future, and that they will be good again at some point. Tron fans have to wait decades between movies, and don't get much new content. I mean, we basically only get indie games for God's sake. The problem with this film is that everything is just really focused on the real world. We barely see the grid, and it's only for one sequence. The human characters are so boring, and the plot only allows one of them, Eve, to be a little bit interesting, and that's it. As I just left the theater, I have already forgotten the film. I felt like a bare bones Tron movie. It had great visuals, killer soundtrack, but a terrible story. The Tron curse, I'm calling it. And for some reason, Hasan Minhaj isn't here, and I'm not really sure why. He kinda just hangs out in the background like he's chilling. When you have a sequel to any franchise, you want that film to expand on the world, to add its own lore to the universe. Looking back on this film, I'm not sure what it even added except more annoying human characters. You have to tell a story that must be told, and feels important. This feels like it just retconned Tron Legacy, and this is definitely not one of those stories. In retrospect, all the flaws I had with Tron's Legacy story are gone now. That was amazing in comparison. By the end of this film, I realized that Disney must have reached its last straw with the Tron franchise, and I think now it is because they misunderstand what makes Tron so special. If I had to define what makes Tron special, it is that it is more than just great visuals and amazing music. It's understanding the life of a program and what it means to have a directive that you don't want to follow, and to defy your programming. This is why Tron Uprising excels. You live with the programs and understand what that feels like. In my opinion, if you look at Assassin's Creed, they have shifted away from their modern day scenes, and you're just really in the animus and being that character in that time period now. This is what Tron needs to do and forget the real world. I hope the next time, and hopefully there is a next time, that they finally learn this lesson. This was not the film to re-energize the Tron franchise and get us more content. Heck, the villain gets away in the end and kills his mom by accident. He feels like some Gen Z guy with no friends who likes cyberbully. How is that a villain? You need a Darth Vader, not a Jar Jar Binks, someone with presence. And Tron fans, please hang in there with me. So what do you think is the best Tron movie? Do I need therapy after this film? Should I join Jared Leto's cult? Let me know in the comments. And remember, I'm just another nerd. Stay nerdy out there, friends.